New York has seen virtually every kind of tennis superstar walk through the gates of Flushing Meadows. Champions have arrived with trophies, legends have arrived with enormous fan bases, and teenagers have arrived hoping to make their first breakthrough. But Alex Eala is bringing something different to the 2026 US Open: the momentum of an entire country behind a player who has risen from a promising junior into one of the most talked about young stars in the sport. And this time, the numbers are impossible to ignore. Eala enters New York ranked a career-high world number 18, just weeks after winning her first WTA Tour singles title in Washington, D.C.
Hi everyone, it's Alex here. I just got off my match in Grandstand, and I just want to thank you all so much for the support. The energy out there was electric, and you guys made it so special, especially coming back after being in a difficult situation in the third. So you made my first main draw win in the Grand Slam so special, and I hope to see you in my second round.
Welcome to the story behind the Alex Eala phenomenon, because this is no longer simply about a talented Filipino player trying to make a deep Grand Slam run. The attention around her has become part of the event itself. Her rise has created huge interest among Filipino fans, drawn attention from major tennis names, and given the US Open another compelling storyline heading into the final Grand Slam of the season. If you follow tennis stories where performance, national pride, and the business of sport collide, this is one you will want to stay with. And if you are new here, consider subscribing, because we will be following what happens next in New York. The first thing to understand is just how quickly Eala's trajectory has changed. Only a relatively short time ago, she was still trying to establish herself on the WTA Tour. Now she is entering the US Open as a top 20 player. The WTA rankings released on August 24th placed her at number 18, 2 spots higher than the previous week and the highest ranking of her career. That matters because rankings are not built on one spectacular afternoon. They are accumulated through results over time, and Eala's position reflects the consistency she has shown across the 2026 season. Her Washington title was the breakthrough that changed the conversation. Eala became the first Filipina to win a WTA Tour singles title when she captured the DC Open in August. That achievement gave her more than a trophy. It provided a defining result that could stand alongside the biggest moments of her young career. She had already made history at Grand Slam level and had produced wins against elite opposition. But winning a WTA 500 level event meant proving she could survive an entire tournament against established professionals and finish the job. The timing could hardly have been better, because the US Open was approaching. And the momentum did not disappear when she left Washington. Eala followed that title run by reaching the round of 16 at the Canadian Open, adding another strong result against a deep WTA field. Then came Cincinnati, where she reached the third round before losing to American world number 10 Amanda Anisimova in a 3-set match. Eala took the opening set 6-4, dropped the second 4-6 and then fell 2-6 in the decider. The loss was disappointing, but it did not erase the larger trend. She had just won her first WTA title, reached another major tournament's second week, and climbed to number 18 before arriving in New York. That sequence is important because the US Open is not welcoming an unknown player. Eala is entering as someone the tournament itself has already identified as a player to watch. The official US Open preview highlighted her as one of the attractions of the 2026 event, pointing back to her 2022 US Open girls singles title and her historic transition into a WTA Tour champion. The tournament also notes that she will compete in women's singles and mixed doubles, partnering with Canada's Felix Auger-Aliassime. That means Eala is not simply part of the draw. She is part of the broader promotional story surrounding this year's Open. And that brings us to the part that makes the Eala story particularly fascinating: the fans. The Filipino community has followed her across international tournaments, often turning ordinary practice sessions and matches into events of their own. The source material surrounding her rise describes scenes of Filipino supporters gathering in large numbers, bringing flags, creating chants, and making their presence impossible to miss. That kind of support can change the atmosphere around a player. For Eala, who has repeatedly spoken about how meaningful it is to feel a Filipino community around her while competing overseas, the crowd has become part of her competitive environment. That connection has already been visible at major tournaments. The US Open itself describes Eala as one of the biggest attractions of this year's tournament, and her schedule gives fans several opportunities to see her before and during the main competition. On August 27th, she is scheduled to appear in the Stars of the Open exhibition at Arthur Ashe Stadium alongside Iva Jovic, Joao Fonseca, and Lerner Tien. She is also part of the new mixed doubles competition with Auger-Aliassime. Then comes the singles draw, where the stakes become very different. There is also an important distinction between popularity and achievement. Eala is not receiving attention simply because she is Filipino. The attention has grown because the results came first. She won the US Open Girls Singles title in 2022. She became the first Filipina WTA Tour Singles champion in Washington. She climbed to number 18 in the world. And she has already demonstrated that she can compete with players who have spent years occupying the upper levels of the rankings. The fan base amplified those accomplishments, but it did not create them. The tennis came first. The phenomenon followed. Her junior success was an early warning sign. Winning the 2022 US Open Girls title gave Eala a major international credential before she had even established herself on the senior tour. She then faced the difficult transition that every junior champion eventually encounters: playing adults, dealing with longer seasons, traveling constantly, adjusting to stronger opponents, and learning how to win when expectations begin to follow you. Many talented juniors never make that transition. Eala has. And that is one reason her current ranking carries more significance than simply being a number beside her name. The Philippines has also given her rise a much larger meaning. Tennis has traditionally lived in the shadow of sports such as basketball, boxing, and volleyball in the country. Yet Eala has become a figure capable of pulling mainstream attention toward tennis. That is one of the most valuable things an emerging athlete can do. A champion can win a trophy, but a genuine sports figure can make people who never watched the sport before suddenly care about the next match. Eala's journey is beginning to show signs of that broader impact, particularly among younger Filipino fans. And she understands the significance of representing the Philippines. Throughout her rise, Eala has repeatedly emphasized her pride in being Filipino and the importance of the community supporting her abroad. That relationship is particularly meaningful because the Philippines does not have a traditional home tournament on the WTA calendar that gives her a regular domestic stage. Instead, Filipino fans have effectively created traveling home crowds in other countries. Washington, Toronto, Melbourne, and now New York have become places where Eala can look into the stands and see the colors of home. That emotional connection can also be seen in the way other players have reacted to her popularity. During her Washington breakthrough, Naomi Osaka spoke about seeing Filipino flags and large groups of fans around Eala's matches and practices. Osaka knows what it means to carry the expectations of an entire country because she experienced that phenomenon herself while becoming one of the biggest names in women's tennis. Her recognition of Eala's growing community is significant precisely because Osaka understands how powerful that relationship between player and national audience can become. There is another reason the attention matters. It creates a new kind of pressure. A young player can handle pressure from an opponent because it is visible and immediate. But pressure from thousands of supporters, social media attention, national expectations, and constant questions about what comes next is different. Eala is still only 21. Her career is developing in real time. Every good result now brings more attention to the next tournament, and every difficult loss is analyzed more closely. The challenge is learning how to carry the spotlight without allowing the spotlight to change the way she plays. That challenge was visible in Cincinnati. Eala had already played a heavy stretch of tennis through Washington and Toronto before arriving in Ohio. Against Anisimova, she started strongly and won the first set, but the American eventually turned the match around. Eala led 2-0 in the deciding set before losing 6 consecutive games. It was the kind of defeat that can easily be framed as a setback, but it also revealed something important about the level she is now competing at. She is no longer simply trying to reach these late rounds. She is being expected to win them. And that expectation is one of the biggest changes in her career. When Eala entered Washington, the story was whether she could finally win a WTA title. After Washington, the question became whether she could repeat that level against stronger opposition. After Toronto, the focus shifted toward the US Open. After Cincinnati, the conversation moved toward how she would respond to a difficult loss before a Grand Slam. That is the life of a top 20 player. The target keeps moving. There is less time to celebrate the previous achievement because the next challenge is already waiting. The US Open offers Eala an especially meaningful opportunity because this tournament already has a place in her personal history. She won the girls' singles title at Flushing Meadows in 2022, an achievement that announced her potential to the wider tennis world. 4 years later, she returns not as a junior champion watching the professionals from the outside, but as a top 20 WTA player preparing to compete against them. That is an extraordinary transformation. The same grounds that once represented a dream are now the workplace where she will try to create another chapter. And this year's US Open environment is already different. Fan Week has been expanded with major exhibition and mixed doubles attractions, while Eala is directly involved in both. The tournament's official ticketing information lists her among the young stars appearing in Stars of the Open at Arthur Ashe Stadium on August 27th. That event puts her on one of the most famous courts in tennis before her singles campaign even begins. For a player whose popularity has grown rapidly, that kind of exposure is another indication of how quickly her profile has expanded. There is also a practical side to the excitement: tickets. The 2026 US Open is already dealing with unusually high demand and elevated resale prices across the tournament. Reuters reported that the get-in price for the first round was around $197 as of August 21st, while the average price across sessions remained above the previous year's level. On August 26th, New York City and the USTA also opened an initiative offering 1,000 tickets at $100 to local residents. More than 300,000 people reportedly entered the online process, showing just how intense overall interest in the tournament has become. That broader demand makes it even more important to separate verified numbers from the more dramatic claims circulating online. Stories about specific resale prices for Eala matches, enormous numbers of ticket inquiries, or tournament staff supposedly saying they had never prepared for anything like her should be treated carefully unless the organizers themselves confirm them. The fan demand is clearly real, and reputable outlets have identified Eala as one of the biggest attractions.